Barrett.
Deputy McBarry. Can I thank Deputy Ryan for bringing forward this motion? I think any motion that attempts to essentially provide for one aspect, important aspect of this crisis, which is people who are not eligible for council housing and who are looking for rental accommodation that cannot and is not being delivered by the private market, that is to be welcomed. And so I certainly think we should look at the affordable rental sort of option as, or the cost rental option as one part of addressing this crisis. And I really want to say, and I'm going to just repeat it every time we're debating this for the next 4 or 5 weeks, the government's continued reliance on the private sector means we need tens of thousands of people out on the streets on April the 7th when the National Housing and Homelessness Coalition, of which many parties in here are affiliated, the trade unions, the ICTU are backing the demonstration, and so on. We need people out on the streets. And I don't just say that because I like demonstrations and I want to criticise the government. The government is still relying too much on the private sector, okay? You're saying you're going to deliver 50,000 council houses. That's better than what you were talking about before, but of the 133,000 social housing units that you're talking about, which is about in the region we need to deliver, 83,000 of those are HAPS, RAS or leasing. Now then you look at last year's figures, 17,000 HAPS solutions, 2,000 of those already are being evicted. That's 15%. I got this back in a PQ in the last while, are facing eviction, right? Or their tenancies are in trouble. Now, they were the low-hanging fruit in terms of HAPS. It's going to be harder to get the rest of the HAPS tenancies, to get the landlords. I don't think you'll get anywhere near 83,000 HAPS tenancies. But already, what I'm dealing with is people in HAPS and RAS being evicted and then having to go into hubs. And the numbers are increasing. So a huge pillar, the majority pillar of the government's plan, however well-intentioned it might be, is not going to deliver, right? So we have to look elsewhere. And that means the state has to do it because the private market is completely incapable of doing it. So yes, we need public housing on public land to answer this crisis. I didn't like the spin in the Irish Times today. I know you didn't write the headline, Eamon, but the implication that social housing isn't going to deal with, for example, the rental crisis in the private market, sorry, that's incorrect. Okay, one of the reasons why rents are going through up the reef, it's not the only reason, is because huge numbers of people who would normally have got council housing when we used to build council houses are now being told to go out and find stuff in the private sector, which is driving up rents. So if we built the 100,000 council houses we need, we would drive down rents. I secondly do not like, maybe Eamon didn't mean it, but there's a spin that gets put on it, which is reinforcing the stigma around social housing, right? If you want to get rid of the stigma around social housing, you raise the eligibility criteria so that people on higher incomes can apply for social housing. And I'll tell you a story of somebody who rang me today. She is accepting €10,000 less in her salary than her employer is willing to pay her, because she will be taken off the housing list if she accepts the pay increase, okay? Because she couldn't get a mortgage, she couldn't get affordable rental, because there is no scheme from the government on this, and she wants to stay on the housing list. Now, how do we address that? This could be part of it, but I'll tell you, you should raise the eligibility criteria, and one way or another, the state has to build affordable housing. Whether it's council housing, and I believe that has to be the majority answer to the problem, but in addition to that, stuff that is genuinely affordable to people.